Yo, what is up, guys? Today I'm going to be discussing 5 things that I love about my 2018 Ninja 400 KRT edition. I forgot to put my glasses on. Alright, got my vision back. I'd say the hardest thing about riding a Ninja 400 is hitting the speed limit. Jokes. Kind of. Okay, number 1. I love how this bike looks. I think it is one of the best looking learner bikes out there. It's up there with the R7 and the CBR 650R in my opinion. Firstly, it's a fully faired bike. I love fully faired sports bikes. And I realized that because the moment I got my GSF 250V, my first bike, a naked bike, I began yearning for one of these crotch rocket looking things. I understand it doesn't look as aggressive as a ZX6R, like a 600 Super Sport or a leader bike Super Sport, but you know, to the untrained eye, this looks like the real deal, and it's about as good as you're gonna get as a learner. I also love the color. I was not going to get a Ninja unless it had the KRT livery on it. This particular livery wasn't my first pick. It came in at 2nd or 3rd place, but it's still a podium finish and a good deal popped up, so I jumped at it. The livery I would have preferred is from the 2020 model, I think, or 2022, one of them. I'll pop it up on the screen, but yeah, it had to be this goblin vomit green that's often associated with the Ninja brand. It's kind of like how red is to a Ferrari or yellow is to a Lambo, or you know, that rally blue is to a WRX. This goblin vomit green is to a Kawasaki Ninja. When it comes to my cars, I very much prefer those dark, sultry, metallic colors that are quite subtle and don't, you know, scream for attention. I like to let the car and its performance do the talking, but when it comes to my bikes, it's the complete opposite. I want it to be as loud and as obnoxious as possible to the naked eye. Holy shit, look at that go. Damn. So it's overall just a very pretty, handsome looking bike, and I really like how it looks. Number 2, how easy it is to maintain, repair, and modify the Ninja 400. So this is like, it's just a chill bike. It's not some highly strung, precision engineered machine. It's kind of meant to be a basic, bulletproof, 2-cylinder commuter. These bikes are plentiful. They are abundant in their population. They're kind of like cockroaches, the Camrys and the Corollas of the biking world. And that may not sound like a good thing, but it means that there is an abundance of parts floating around, available at the stroke of a key, delivered to your doorstep within a day or two. If you do want a performance part for this bike, you are going to have no troubles in finding some. You know, if you do have a bit more cash, or if you have some other intentions for this bike, you can dish out into that guy indicated, cancelled because he noticed I was there, and I appreciate that. But yeah, you can splash out for these, and that's because there is such a great aftermarket available. Again, these bikes are plentiful, but they are also you know, utilized by both novices and expert riders around the world to take to the track. And because of that, there's a lot of R&D that goes around, and the aftermarket for these bikes is massive. You name it, you'll find it for the Ninja from like 20 different companies, from eBay or your local motorcycle shop. It'll be in stock. So it makes maintaining, modifying, and repairing these things really easy. It's the kind of bike that you can get away with performing basic maintenance and upgrades, modifications without having to worry too much about your mechanical experience. You know, if you... Holy shit, that was loud. If you screw it up, it doesn't matter. You can buy the part all over again. And if you screw it up that badly, it doesn't matter. You can just buy a whole bike because they're so cheap. And that leads me to my next point. These things are cheap. There is such a low barrier of entry for these bikes in terms of cost, man. They are really affordable, whether it be straight off the showroom floor or secondhand. It's even more affordable secondhand, as these are now coming to that 4-year-old kind of mark. So you can get a really good deal on one of these. Not cost you an arm and a leg. And they hold their value pretty well because they're already pretty cheap. They're not going to depreciate that much more. Of course, because it's that lower CC bulletproof commuter type bike, you've also got very low running costs relative to other bikes. You know, services aren't going to be expensive. It doesn't consume many of those perishable parts, and when they do, it's cheap. These tires are small because it's a low CC bike. You know, it's a parallel twin engine, so it's only got 2 spark plugs, and all of these parts are just cheap, and as mentioned earlier, readily available because they're really nothing special. It's just a workhorse sports commuter. Here in Victoria, it's also cheaper on registration because it's under 500 cc's. It's also cheaper to insure because it's a lower cc. That being said, it will be slightly more expensive than its naked counterpart, the Z400, because it is deemed to be a sports bike, and insurers charge more for that. But, you know, it's still cheap compared to insuring something like a CBR 650R or a true super sport or a leader bike. So it's cheap. I like that. I like that about this bike. I don't have to worry about breaking the bank every time I want to maintain, repair, or modify this thing. Number 4, the headlights. I really like these headlights. These headlights are the best I've had on any of the 3 bikes I've previously owned, and that is because they are a twin setup, so the low beam is on for both housings at all times, and when the high beam comes on, it's reflected in, again, both housings, whereas usually you have one housing for low beam and the other for high beam. And I just like that there's some symmetry to this, you know. Now let's not forget the fact that these are LEDs, meaning that their light output is far superior to that of the 2017 R3 that I previously owned and the GSF 250V that I previously owned. That being said, I do plan to attach a spotlight of some sort onto this bike eventually because it's still just crap compared to the light output you'd find in a car, and it's not sufficient, especially when I'm on the freeway and it's pitch black at night. Let's not forget the fact that they're this kind of cool white color as opposed to that warm yellow that was on my previous 2 bikes, and it just suits the aesthetic so much better. It really overhauls the look, and in my opinion, it sets apart those modern bikes from the old age bikes. Having a nice clean LED or HID setup with a cool white color just absolutely changes the look. And yeah, I changed the R3 bulb to an LED eventually, and that worked out good, really made it look cool, but it's nice that this included those kinds of colors and bulbs from factory. Point number 5, this thing is just easy to ride. It is the perfect beginner bike. It's lightweight, it's flickable, it's narrow, you can filter with it quite easily, fold your mirrors in, point your nose, and you'll be shooting through any gap that's in your way on your morning commute. Being so lightweight, it's really easy to maneuver at low speeds. It's easy to maneuver when you're off the bike and manually moving it around. And I haven't had the misfortune of dropping a bike yet, but I'd imagine that it would be quite easy to pick up if you do drop it because of how light it is. And it's also got a short seat, which makes it, again, great for the beginner rider or shorter riders out there. It's got a sporty riding position, but nothing compared to a super sport. It's not gonna break your back or hurt your wrists, unlike some of the other learner approved sports bikes out there like the R7. I think even the KTM RC390 has a more aggressive riding position than this. So I feel like this achieves that good balance. Look at this. Look how easy it is to filter. I love this thing, man. It's a great bike. This video is being recorded on the same day as that group ride video that would have just come out, or maybe is just about to come out. Oh my god. I wasn't gonna risk it. I had a feeling that he saw me and he was just gapping out to quickly scooch on out after I'd passed him, but that wasn't a risk I was gonna take, man. Not a risk I was gonna take. So this thing is just the perfect beginner bike. Now I know I do a lot of commuting, and I made that video about taking it out into the hills so that I can fall in love with it again. And I did. I took it out into the hills today to ride this bike for the sake of riding. Whereas usually I'm just taking it to work. The roads are straight. I do some filtering here and there, but today I got to really kind of lean it over a bit here and there. It's so easy to outgrow the power of this bike, but the moment you take it into a hilly area, some back roads with some nice surfaces, you're going to be humbled real quick if you think you've outgrown the Ninja 400. And it is hands down the best bike I've owned out of the R3 and the Bandit 250. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Catch you on the next one.